What's up YouTube, Kronos here, and welcome back to PSO2. So I wanted to do kind of like a revisit to my Bouncer Hunter skill tree. This is going to be for Dual Blade Bouncer, by the way, because as anyone who follows the channel knows, I don't really play jet boots. I haven't had enough experience with them. I plan on playing them at some point, probably just not on this character, which seems silly, but PSO2 gives you reasons to make alts, and it's mostly just money. But not to drag this intro on too long. So as you guys know, the 85 patch came out, gave us 5 extra points to work with. I'm going to show you guys how I have retooled my skill tree to kind of make things make a bit more sense for how I play. And I'll give you a couple ideas on what you can kind of do. You don't, again, I guess this is the disclaimer at the start. This skill tree is specifically to my liking. It is not necessarily the absolute best skill tree. You can always move things around that might suit you better, and I'll make those notes as I talk about each individual skill itself, and hopefully not make this video too long. It's actually gonna be a pretty quick video, but we'll hop over here, talk to the class attendant. So as you know, with the 85 patch, they added in 2 new skills. Each class gets a class-specific skill, but all the classes except for Hero got a high-level bonus. Now, this is available at level 80, so if you're 80 and you haven't started leveling and you have a reskill ticket, which everyone should have one, I highly recommend going ahead, using it, and then putting points into these skills because they're a flat 5% bonus on top of everything. So, like, you know, for me, I took things out of best attack because it just wasn't, it's not as big of a bonus as the high-level bonus. From that skill. Whew. I guess I should have had more coffee today. Anyway, but yeah, pick up this. Just as a note, this you can automatically at 85. You don't automatically unlock it immediately. Like, it doesn't just become yours. You have to actually come into the skill tree. You click on it, your character learns it. It doesn't actually use a skill point, which is really, really nice. And same thing for Hunter. It's for your main and your subclass. And as you can see, if you just mouse over really quick, oh, hang on. 5% bonus, does not say main class only, so applies to your main and subclass. Again, just take points out of like S attack or something like that and go ahead and move it into the high level bonus because it's very useful. But let's pop over to the tree, and actually, instead of showing you guys here, I think I did this last time where I showed you guys my tree here, and I really didn't like it. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up the skill sim for you guys, and hang on one second, pop that up, and I will show it to you here. I'm going to reset this and kind of go through it with you guys together really quick. So and I will link this in the description as well once it's finished. So it is Bouncer main spec, Hunter sub, of note, because I've had people ask before, you technically can take Fighter as a sub, but you will, now I haven't tested it, but I would imagine you do more damage as Bouncer just because Fighter is more focused around your PAs and comboing your PAs, where Bouncer doesn't do as much comboing of PAs. Your strongest DPS, at least for DB Bouncer, is going to be Photon Blade Fever, which would not take advantage of what Fighter Tree brings to you at all. It would, however, take advantage of this here, which increases the damage of just attacks, but not techniques. Technically speaking, your blade attacks, or your blade damage, is based on like your normal damage, which is your just attacks. So that's kind of why we want to go Hunter. But the basic stuff is for another video. We're just going to go over the tree here. Of note for Bouncer, I do have a Dex mag. I've had people say, you know, you can take the striking mag. That's fine. It's basically the same thing. Technically speaking, no, it's not exactly the same thing, but it does give you minor benefits to having a Dex mag over a striking mag. First off, you're getting 200 Dex, which whenever you don't crit, which granted with this tree we should be critting pretty often, but whenever you don't crit, it shortens the level or the damage range that you have. So again, it's slight DPS increase, very minor, but still increases. Also, you're going to get 200 tech attack, which in situations like when you're soloing, popping Xanverse for yourself, I want to say Ramajin type 0, things like that. Granted, those techs don't do a ton of damage, but they are affected by your tech attack, so having extra tech attack is helpful, increasing a little bit more damage. So it's not the end of the world if you don't have one. If you have an S-Tac mag, just go with that. But if you can get a Dex mag, it's actually pretty cool. As for the tree, fairly simple. It's 3 points in dex. We're going to grab the fields because that's what our new skill is based around. We'll go ahead and pop over here really quick to it. Where is it? Here we go. Our new skill is auto field, and it's based on you having these points. You have to have the field points in here for it to actually work. When you dodge something, or when you perfect dodge something, it says dodging an attack with Mirage Step will activate all learned field skills. Learned, I mean, if these aren't learned, you don't activate them. If you only have one, it only activates one, so on and so forth. Also, Mirage Step is your step as a bouncer, whether you're using dual blades or you're using jet boots, but it only works if you're using dual blades or jet boots, I've noticed. I haven't tested it out with using something else. I'll have to try that out and we'll get back to you on that. But moving on, pop over here. So yes, we want to grab these fields. We also grab field remain because between the both of these, granted, not like there's gonna be much of a skill cooldown if you're playing properly and you're stepping through things consistently, but field remain plus the crit fields means you only have 20 seconds of downtime on your buffs if you have to reactivate them manually, which is pretty good. Of course, we want Photon Blade Fever and Dual Blade Gear. Don't make the mistake that I did when you redid your skill tree and forget to pick up Dual Blade Gear after doing everything here. And then same as before, I'm picking up full points in both trees. Now, if you have I think it's a new type invade weapon, they do have crit bonuses, so you can take less points. I have seen people go with 3 points instead of going the full 5, because with this, I don't have an extra bonuses to crit. With a crit ring, if I'm in a group, if I'm solo, I'm using an adrenaline ring, but with a crit ring in a group with my fields activated and all the points, I have 100% crit, so it's very nice. We're also taking Shifta and D-Band, of course, because Bouncer still crutches D-Band for PP economy, so it's kind of what we need. So at this point, we've kind of gotten all of our basic stuff that we absolutely need. We want to go ahead and what we're going to do is take 3 points in striking up. We're going to go 8 points in striking up 2, and we're actually take 2 points in step advance. 2 points in step advance is going to give us 0.09. Is what extends the invulnerability during the step. Since we're going to be stepping more often and trying to step through abilities, it's important that we have, well, that's important. If you're really, really good at stepping through abilities without this, you don't need it, but it actually helps out quite a bit where you can step through abilities that you usually wouldn't be able to with this increased amount of timing on step advance. So we're adding 0.09. Let's pop over here to Hunter Tree, and let's see. I'm not doing too bad. We're only 8 minutes in this video. I'm doing pretty well. Hunter Tree is pretty, not self-explanatory, but pretty standard. This is where a lot of people will differ on what they take. First off, some people will take Fury combo points up to 5. This is where I left off my 5 points when I redid my tree. I actually took 5 points out of here, which honestly I wouldn't recommend it. I'd still take them out of striking up, but I took 5 points out of here. Since we are going with crit, we have crit field, we have all of this crit that's available to us. We're going to make use of crit. So we're taking Fury critical. 3 points in a guard stance. Now, this is where people will differ. Everyone's got their own choice. I personally take Automate Halfline. Say what you will. That is my decision. As is what I want to go with personally. You don't have to, technically speaking. Some people drop Automate Halfline. And I think they go, what was it? Points into Flash Guard. Go full points into Massive Hunter. And then actually take Iron Will Never Give Up. Now, this does do some very, very strange things to the amount of points you have left available to you. Now, granted, it is more overall S attack for Never Give Up to proc. And when it procs, it's 300 extra S attack for 15 seconds. Plus, there's only a 25% chance you'd actually die. And you have Massive Hunter. But I don't like playing that way. I mean, if you never get hit, it's great. If you're playing really, really well, you don't have to worry about Iron Will. Then you never get the extra S attack anyway, so it's kind of a gamble. I haven't seen that as being super, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'll just say useful. It hasn't been really useful for me, so I'm going Automate Halfline and Guard Stance. It just allows me in some situations to step into some abilities that I know would hurt me. but I would also step through enough of it to be able to gain my fields faster, so that way they're up in situations where they might not have been. So it's just for fishing extra fields to have them up all the time. So right now this is kind of what I go with here. I believe if I remember correctly, I still took a point in Iron Will. Now here's where it gets interesting. So something I learned not too long ago, yep, okay, so 3 points, and then a full 10. So 100, 14, 10, not the greatest, it's mostly just to get to here. But what you can actually do is, now notice we took 2 points here in step advance, which gives us 0.09, and notice the more points you take in step advance, the less, or the more diminishing returns there is. If you actually pop over to Hunter and take 3 points in Hunter, 0.11. Now what I used to think, or what I thought previously, was that it would only take the value of the highest one. Now, after playing with it and after actually testing it out, I found that it actually takes the combined value up to a maximum of 0.20. So 0.11, 0.9 gives us a maximum of 0.20, meaning we have the maximum bonus we can have with step advance, meaning we can step through more abilities. Almost making it comical to step through some abilities. It's pretty great. It makes things a lot easier as far as trying to step, and it's mostly just for fields. Now I know, oh, granted you're not going to see, yeah, mostly for fields. And I know people always say, well, you know, Chrono, you can always just Photon Blade or a Photon Blade escape through things. Honestly, unless I'm directly connected to something, like unless I'm locked onto something, or is an easy way for me to deal damage when I use that step ability, I don't use it for that reason. If I'm not confident I can step through the ability and I need more iframes, then maybe yes. Like I think it's going to kill me and I don't have any other way of surviving it, then yeah, I'll do it. But I use things like Nabarta type 0 for blocking, and then having this crazy long step advance window of 0.20 seconds of invincibility, which is awesome. I don't have to rely on Photon Blade escape and potentially waste blades just flying off into the ether, not actually hitting anything. Granted, you could make sure that you're locked onto something, but it doesn't always work out that way. So just relying more on step advanced to, again, reproc the reactivation of our shields, I feel like it's just a better overall option. So that's the way I play it. Granted, you can however you'd like to, it's up to you. But the major changes, the major differences most people make in these situations is you could drop step advance, you take 2 more points into striking up, and bam, you're all set. Some people, you know, they take, I don't know, I thought this used to be okay, but recovering PP when you've been knocked back from or recovering PP with a just reversal, in most situations you're already recovering PP standardly and you would be better off just not even worrying about it. So, but yeah, that's really the only places I would actually kind of move things around. Now granted, this is again just for DB Bouncer. I don't play jet boots. I don't really know jet boots that well. I haven't messed around with them. When I do, maybe we'll take a look at it. And what you end up with is a healthy 1100 S attack. I think is alright. Oh yeah, you have 1 leftover point in Hunter. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it. Some people toss it into Iron Will. Oh yeah, the value point of Iron Will. 1 point gives you 30% chance of not dying. I think that's personally value. And we have the extra point to use. So I tossed it in Iron Will. The last point, there's no point in putting in step advance. It's not going to get any better. So I just tossed it in striking up 2. Because striking up 2 gives him a little more S attack than striking up 1, if I remember correctly. Yeah. 5 S attack as opposed to 4. So, granted, not a lot. I know S attack gains aren't huge, but they are still damage. So you take it where you can get it. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful for some of you guys out there who are looking for a tree. I know recently I have seen a crazy number of bouncers, of dual blade bouncers, because everyone's getting the Jupiter Tullus that I still don't have. I'm not salty. I'm not salty, am I correct? No, I'm joking. But a lot of people are getting Jupiter Tullus, and I've seen a crazy number of bouncers recently. So hopefully this helps out one of you guys who picked up a pair of Jupiter Tullus, you got lucky, they dropped, and you just want to try out using them. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the video. If this was helpful for you guys, or if you have your own ideas, talk toss them in the comments. Sign up for the comments. Maybe if you have your own trees that have worked really, really well for you. Now, granted, again, this is my tree that's worked well for me. You don't necessarily have to do this, and I'm not saying this is the absolute best tree to go with, but this is what's worked best for my play style. If you have something that's worked well for you, toss it in the comments. Tell me why, why was this so good for you? I mean, granted, throwing trees out in the comment, or throwing a tree out in the comments without an explanation is not really going to tell me much. It's like, hey, this is what I like to use. Cool. Give me a little bit of info. Tell me why this has worked well for you. What situations has it worked really well for you, and so on and so forth. What weapons are you using it with? Are you one of those guys that can drop that can drop 4 points from these crits here because you don't need the extra 5%, and you can throw it into something like, S attack, where you got now, what was that, an extra, let's see, 8 and 25. Those 2 points is 25. Those 2 points are 25 S attack, which hurts. It hurts. But actually 8 and 25 S attack respectively in those 2 locations, which actually I might look into doing that, not gonna lie. Now that I look at this, I might think about doing that. But yeah, toss information in the comments. Let me know what it is you guys did that worked well for you. I know with 85 now here and having extra points, people are starting to look into classes a little bit differently with these new class abilities. Hunters having Gelin, bouncers being able to activate their fields by just dashing through abilities, things like that. There's been a higher level of support I've seen recently in a lot of content, so hopefully it's a positive trend. We'll see how things go. Anyway, guys, if you like the video, you know what to do. If you dislike the video, you know where that button is as well. If you guys want to keep up with these videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I mean, hit the bell button if that's your thing. I don't even know why that's a thing in the first place. And if you want to keep up with everything, make sure to subscribe. Anyway, thanks, guys. Peace.